The Tale of the Mandarian Duck, a modern fable. This is a story of rare birds, both feathered and human. Once upon a time, not very long ago, there was a great city built on an island that was famous for its people. There were many kinds of people living there: artists and writers, salespeople and stockbrokers, people who worked with their hands, butchers, bakers, and perfume makers, people who drove cabs, trucks, and trains, people who fixed streets and cleaned streets. So many different kinds of people doing so many different things. But no matter what they did, these people were world famous for their liveliness. They talked to each other everywhere, in elevators, on subways, in restaurants. They would gather in little groups on street corners and tell each other jokes or discuss the daily news of their city and laugh uproariously. They yelled, sang, and generally had a good time. They looked each other in the eye and pretty much liked what they saw. Then an invention came into their lives. It was a new version of an old invention. It was a telephone, but you didn't have to put in a quarter or go somewhere special to use it. You could carry it in your pocket or purse or backpack, and with this telephone, any question you could think of could be answered. Any song could be heard, any person on earth could be found. And most important, it was a camera, and you could photograph anything and everything, especially yourself. Everybody really liked that. It wasn't long before everyone in the city had one. I bet you know some people who have a phone like this. You might even have one yourself. In a very short time, people were not the same. All of them were bent over the small screen in their hand. It was as if nothing else existed. Then one day, something happened that changed many people in the city, maybe forever. A new bird came to town. No one had ever seen a bird like this. Many birds are very beautiful, but this bird was extraordinary. He was a Mandarian duck. When bird lovers heard he was in the pond, they ran to see him. Word spread about the duck, and soon people began flocking to look at him. Wouldn't you? It was the most exciting thing to happen to the city in a long time. How did this duck get there? Where did he come from? Who was this duck? The crowds were immense. Everyone had their phones up, taking pictures of the Mandarian duck. Then one day, a kid in the crowd said very loudly, "I am going to see this with my own two eyes." Then she put her phone away and just watched the Mandarian duck be what he was, something so rare that he had to be seen with your own two eyes and remembered with your heart. So the grown-ups put their phones down too and just watched. They watched long and hard. What an effect this bird had on people. They just loved him. As the crowds left the park, they talked about what they had seen with their friends and with strangers too. Little groups of people began to gather to discuss how wonderful it was to see such a rare and beautiful sight with their own two eyes. Soon after that, the people put their phones away. Their old habits returned. They talked, they laughed, and sometimes they even sang. They looked each other in the eye and pretty much liked what they saw. And all because of the Mandarian duck. Then one day, The Mandarian Duck flew away. Everyone missed him, but he had worked his magic. He had reminded the people in the city, the artists and writers, the butchers, bakers, and perfume makers, and everyone else to look at the world with their own two eyes. And if they did, they would see that all around them are rare and beautiful birds with and without feathers.